The first comic books I remember falling in love with featured Superboy in the Legion of Superheroes. I went on to fall in love with Batman. In the 1940s and 1950s, crime comics were considered the most popular comics around. Batman and Superman were both introduced as crime comics. Batman created detective comics. In the early 1950s, there was a wave of censorship of American comics they were after specifically were crime comics. So crime comics became quite literally banned by a Senate subcommittee. So there were no crime comics for a generation. And then we got sneaky.
¿Cuál diferencia entre hacer superhéroes y hacer historias sobre historias necrocriminales con situaciones reales de realismo sucio?
The only difference that I see is that the characters belong to somebody else. I don't approach it any other way.
He's absolutely right. The biggest difference is that when you step in on Batman or Superman, you're coming in and they're protecting what they've got and what they have stretched into movies and TV shows and everywhere. Whereas if you've come up with something, then those characters are yours, and I mean you could die in your hands.
Yeah.
And do.
We don't approach character any different.
No.
You know, it's like find something to tell a story about.
Yeah.
Queremos que nos cuentes sobre Daredevil, que era un título que estaba a punto de ser cancelado y que se convirtió en uno de los cómics más importantes del momento y cómo lo catapultó a él como el más importante autor del personaje.
Every once in a while you get very, very lucky in a career. And Marvel had a really fun idea for a superhero. A superhero, I mean, all the other superheroes are known because they're really strong, or they can fly, or they're really fast. You know Batman, you know Daredevil because of something you can't do, you can't see. And but the title kind of lasted for a long time, and the artist Gene Colan, who had made it famous, quit. He'd done it forever. He just didn't want to do it anymore. And they didn't, you know, and I just waltzed into Jim Shooter's office and said I wanted to do it. And he decided to take a chance on it. And so it was a perfect place to do crime stories, which I always wanted to do. And I got to sort of expand upon my love affair with New York and tell crime stories. It was the best of times.
How was it arriving to Batman and radically changing the history of an iconic character, aiming it to a more mature audience?
I didn't come on saying I'm going to try to turn the world upside down. I wanted to come in and have as much fun as possible with Batman. And I really had two things in mind. First, I wanted to make him a lot tougher. And I wanted to get that yellow circle off of that bat, which I always thought was kind of silly because it looked stupid. And what would be the first thing if you had a gun and Batman was coming at you? You aimed at you. We got a yellow target right over his heart. But it was mainly just an exploration of the character, taking him back to really old versions of him. My visual for Batman was based more than anything on an old cartoonist named Dick Sprang, who did Batman during the 1950s, and did a very cheerful, smiling Batman. Well, my Batman smiled too, but it was a little different kind of smile.
What was your experience getting to play with the two opposite sides of the Man of Steel in Superman for Tomorrow?
That was, man, I didn't want to do that book.
But we just thought so much fun.
No, Jim Lee told me I was doing it. Yeah, and it was, and like when he's, you know, he says like, hey, do you want to do Superman? It's like, oh no, because as soon as he says it, it's like, I'm doing Superman. Because he wanted to follow up Hush with a year run on Superman. I'm like, Jim, I don't know if I'm the right guy for you. but he's like, no, you are the right guy. And I started thinking about it, it's like, he's gonna make a mistake. That's, because for me, I think what makes us interesting, what makes us human is the mistakes we make and how to correct them, and, or not correct them and just keep going and going deeper and deeper into the abyss. But it all came from Jim. Jim started it and he forced me to do it.
Mac Miller on DKR third, the tree. How was that experience?
Well, as bad as Jim Lee was,
I think people want to know how was your collaboration. ¿Cómo fue esa colaboración?
it was. It was fantastic, and I learned a lot.
Send word back to Jim. You know?
Yeah. It was great. I mean, it was. We argued, we talked like the characters. We.
Did you dress like the characters?
You always seem to have a character on your shirt, so.
Yeah, you always seem to wear some kind of weird wrestling mask.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you feel is the biggest difference both in audiences and in the audience and the medium since the publication of The Dark Knight Returns and DKR3?
I think it's a bigger difference between the publisher's attitude than it is in the audience. That book was among a number that happened at pretty much the same time, including everything from Watchmen to Love and Rockets to a host of books that were happening at the same time that taught the publishers and that the comic books weren't just for one group of people anymore.
I think at this point in both of our careers, it's not what we're working on, it's who we're working with.
Yes.
Okay?
And also you go from one to the other. I have a Sin City I can't wait to do. I have I'm in progress on the follow up to 300.
The movie adaptations of your work, which one has satisfied you the most, and which one is the one you like the least? And I said maybe he'll beat me for asking this.
I love the Sin Cities. I love 300. What bad ones are there out there? I've been very lucky.
¿Qué sienten acerca de las adaptaciones de las películas sobre personajes de cómics? Y si es bueno para el medio impreso.
But I say if the movie's good, it's good for us. If it's bad for us. If it's bad, it usually tells everybody they were right about thinking we were so loud.
Yeah, look what, a film like Black Panther or Wonder Woman, look what it's done to those characters' profiles. Like Black Panther, I don't think anybody knew who Black Panther was. Right.
Esta es la última pregunta que yo tengo, que es para ambos, que es cómo ven el medio del cómic actualmente y hacia dónde creen que va.
I think it's going. Where it has to go is everywhere, because we can't stay doing one kind of comic book. It was superheroes forever, but that followed a period where it was horror and crime. And now that the audience is every different age there is, it's all over the world. It's got to start doing. It's got to be as creative a field as possible. In order that there has to be much freedom to explore all kinds of stories.
The direct market seems to be shrinking. That's a U.S. thing, and I think comics are getting. What's happening now is people are waiting. They're not the monthly fix isn't as important as it used to be. I mean, it is for the people who like to talk about this stuff. I mean, complain about this stuff online. So they need to read it.
What do people do online?
They complain. That's a nice way of So people are reading them and they're taking more seriously because they're going into bookstores right now.
Well, the other thing is you got to understand that the much of what we think of as classic novels in America were published in magazines first and later collected. Charles Dickens, he introduced all of his books chapter by chapter.
Sure.
And so that's, now that we've been thinking more in terms of what we call the graphic novel, and people are using wacky terms like story arc and so on. We're all in the business of getting on the shelves in bookstores, which is where, I've been campaigning that for decades, and I think that's the way we have to be thinking about this.
5 years ago, people were, everything's going to go digital. Well, that didn't happen.
Oh no.
There's something about comics. The experience is there's a physical tactileness that needs to be part of it. It seems like people read digitally, and if they like it, they go buy it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you sample it that way, but you need to have it physically. It's got to be on your bookshelf, because you know what your bookshelf is? It's your brain. It's how you show off your brain to people. Look at all that I've read. Nobody likes their brain this size.
The fact is, that size is not the size I want to see my drawings printed.
Les agradezco mucho a ellos por haber estado aquí, agradezco mucho a nombre del público, hemos sido muy afortunados todos los que estamos aquí. Y les pido un aplauso muy mexicano para estos dos señores.